This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Hey YouTubers, this is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a Bosch dishwasher that is leaking and flooding all over the kitchen floor, and it's due to one of these things, which is the fill valve that's stuck in the somewhat arm position. So we're going to be replacing this with a much cheaper part from Amazon that actually only costs $25 instead of 90 something. So it works just as well, and you can get it easily from Amazon. Here's what the old valve looks like here underneath the kitchen sink, and these are some of the tools we're going to use. We have vice grips, we have some wire strippers, we have a couple of blue spade connectors we're going to crimp in. We have the valve that came from Amazon with the brass elbow and some thread tape. And let's see, there's the valve, there's the new valve. And we're going to be just putting these things together and then removing the old valve and replacing it. It'll only take you about half an hour or less. And this is on the Bosch dishwasher. This fill valve is located underneath the sink, which is a little bit unusual for most Bosch dishwashers. Usually they're located right underneath the door on the left-hand side. So this is actually an easier one to get to because it's underneath the sink. So what we'll do first is just unplug it, or you can turn off the breaker. We'll turn off the water going to the fill valve underneath the sink here. I'm going to turn all the way to my right, clockwise, and that's going to shut off the water flow. And then I can take the silver hose here off of the fill valve by grabbing it with, I'm just going to use a crescent wrench to loosen it and then use my fingers to spin off the fill line. This is the one coming out from the wall hooking up to the fill valve. This fill valve is defective. It doesn't close all the way and it lets water just keeps coming in, and it ends up flooding the kitchen. So we know we have to replace it. I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to pry this case apart that's encompassing the old valve. I'm just going to reach in there and just pry it apart, and that's so I have better access to the old valve because I'm going to switch it out with a brand new one. And again, the new one is actually just $25 and it works just as well as the factory part. So I'm pulling back on this plastic sleeve, and I'm going to use a pair of vice grips just to kind of hold it in position about 6 or 7 inches away from the valve so I can expose an area to work on. Now I'm going to remove this wire from the old valve by kind of prying it away. Make sure you have your dishwasher unplugged, and I'm going to cut that wire so I can cut it off of the old valve. I'll just use some wire cutters to do that. I'll snip it near the valve, and now I can pull that wire out. This is bringing power to the valve.
This video is helping you. Please consider pressing down in the lower right hand corner of your screen the subscribe button, and that really helps our channel. Thanks.
We're going to use it to bring power to the new valve. So I'm going to use a pair of pliers here to press down on the spring clamp, and I want to compress it and then move it back up the hose so I can get this hose off of the old valve. You might be able to just pull it off. I'm using a little standard head screwdriver to kind of pry it off to get it started. Usually they're on there pretty tight. You could also measure up about 2 inches up from the old valve and just cut the tubing, because we actually do want to measure up about 2 inches to make a cut. I'm using some diagonal pliers to make the cut in the tube because I want to shorten it by about 2 to 3 inches. You could use a razor blade too, just be careful you don't cut yourself, but we're just trying to shorten that old tube a little bit. And then it would be good to put like some liquid dishwashing detergent on the inside aspect of this tube so you can more readily slide it over the new fill valve. If you don't do that, you can still get it over, but it's a little harder. the dishwashing detergent acts like a lubricant and helps it to slide on a lot easier. That's about how much tube we took out. All right, now I'm using the diagonal pliers to cut this electrical wire to separate the two wires that are inside. There's one bringing power and there's one neutral returning the power, and I need both of them, and they do have insulation on them, so I have to separate them. I'm going to separate about maybe 3 inches, and then I'm going to strip off my wire strippers about 1/4 inch of the insulation, exposing the bare wire, about 1/4 inch of bare wire. So I'm just using the diagonal pliers to cut off the insulation, the little excess insulation that was there. And I use my wire strippers to strip back about 1/4 inch. Then I'll twist that wire to get it nice and tight, because it's called braided wire. It's like a bunch of little wires. I'm stuffing that inside the spade connector, and I'm using my tool here to squish in to crimp the metal down onto the wire to get a nice connection. And I'll do that on the other one too. When you hook these wires onto the new fill valve, you can hook either wire up to either one of the spade connectors on the valve. It doesn't matter. There's no polarity issue. There's no like positive or negative. So you can just crimp it tight and hook up either one of these to either one of the terminals on your new valve. It'll work fine. We've tested these Amazon valves and they do really well. So I am putting the brass elbow that came with it onto the new valve. I put some Teflon pipe tape wrapped around the threads first, and then I'm going to put it on with hand pressure and then use a wrench to get it even tighter. And that Teflon tape is great. It really makes a nice watertight connection. Without that, it would leak. Some people use like a kind of a liquid pipe dope would work too, but I really like the Teflon pipe tape. Sorry about the camera work here. Got it nice and tight. Basically, they're pointing in 2 different directions. The white tube here, and then 90 degrees, we see the brass elbow pointed 90 degrees away. And this is the new valve. And this valve is going to behave. This valve is going to open when we want it to and close all the way so it won't flood your kitchen. All right, now we're going to just stuff the tube, that old white tube, onto the new valve. Again, if you use a little liquid dishwashing detergent first, it'll be a lot easier. I forgot that step, so I had to really use a lot of force to get that on. And the next thing we'll do is get the spring clamp to move up to hold the hose on really tight. We just use a pair of pliers. I'm using like kind of some specialized vice grips, but any kind of pliers would work to compress that and move it up onto the hose so that it's pinching down on the hose to give you a nice tight connection. Once you've done that, you can take the wires and just push them on to the terminals on the valve. Make sure they're on there nice and securely, and you're pretty much done at this point. Just bringing this little sleeve down now over the wires. And what I'll do now is go ahead and plug it in and turn on the water and give it a test. Make sure I don't have any leaks. When you turn on your Bosch dishwasher, you should hear the drain first, and then the fill valve should activate it after about 3 minutes. Oh yeah, before I turn on the water, I'll go ahead and put on that hose back onto the brass elbow, and I'll tighten it really good with my wrench. If your Bosch dishwasher flooded your kitchen, you're also going to have some water in the drip tray below your dishwasher that you have to get rid of with a sponge before operating the dishwasher. Otherwise, it'll just continually drain until maybe 2 days go by and all the water evaporates. But that would be easy to do if you remove the panel below your dishwasher door, make sure it's unplugged, and then use a sponge to remove any of the water that's in the plastic drip tray below your dishwasher. So I had to do that on this model because this one had flooded that tray and then flooded the kitchen floor. So I'm getting that connection on nice and tight using a crescent wrench. And then when I turned it on, I had just constant drain. So I got rid of the water and then I turned it on and it worked great. It drained and then it filled perfectly. So go ahead and plug it back in. Turn the water on by turning the valve lefty-loosey counterclockwise as far as it'll go. And I did actually mount this valve onto the wooden cabinet kind of above where the electrical outlet is. I just used a regular wood screw to go through the metal bracket to hold it on, just to get it up out of the way. You can see here it's lifted up and held in with the screw there near the upper right hand corner. That just holds it in, and it works really good. It's a good retrofit. It's less than half the cost of the Bosch part, and you can get it really quick and easy through Amazon, and it works really well. So hopefully this will help you for your dishwasher too.
Watching our video, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance, and also click the little bell notification button so we can send you weekly videos on all the different ways of fixing appliances around your home and saving you lots of money. So thanks again for watching, and please also press the like button for our video if this was helpful to you.
Feel free to contact me at the email listed below, which is scottthefixitguy@yahoo.com, with any of your questions. And also, if you need to have a FaceTime meeting with me or a Zoom meeting, you can click on one of the links below in the description, and we can set up a 15-minute or 30-minute video conference where we can work on your appliance problem. So thanks again for all your support and for watching the video.